Here's Beth.
Everybody in, Carol? And
Yeah.
Okay. Ready to get started? Sally, you ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like we have 23 participants, so that's very good. Call this public hearing to order. There's just a couple of things I want to cover here. It looks like everyone has a name up, so that's a good thing. We appreciate that. This meeting is being conducted by the use of Zoom video conference as authorized by Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021, effective September 2nd of 2021. The Village Board of Trustees is holding this hearing to receive public comment regarding whether it should adopt a local law subject to permissive referendum to opt out of allowing retail cannabis dispensaries and/or on-site consumption establishments from locating and operating in the Village of Canton. The public has had the opportunity to respond to us via mail or email. And as of the deadline of 4 p.m. this afternoon, I have received, let me see, what did I get? I think it's 12 emails, 1 letter, and a text that I converted to an email. All these will be made part of the record of this hearing. Remind everyone that this is a public hearing and we're not here to debate, but we're here to listen to your comments, both for and against opting out of the sale and on-premise use of cannabis. If anybody wishes to make a comment, please raise your hand on the Zoom toolbar and I will recognize you. If you happen to be on a phone, it doesn't look like anybody is right now. I will ask if anyone on the phone wishes to comment. When recognized, please state your name and where you live. And comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If we do have time, we may come back around for additional comments. Any board member wish to add anything to that? Well, we thank you all for being here. And I would open the discussion to anybody who would like to go first. We have a couple of people that are paying attention to the screen. So if I miss something, I'm sure I'll be reminded by Carol or Anna or Sally. Would anybody like to make a comment?
I would, please.
Okay, go ahead, Lenore.
Thank you so much. Thanks for holding this hearing. I'm happy to be here. So first, just on behalf of SUNY Canton, we have already incorporated aspects of cannabis into our curriculum, and we plan to continue to do so as we expect this to be a large and growing industry in New York State. On behalf of myself only, not on behalf of the college, I do think that allowing cannabis dispensaries and on-site use in the Village of Canton is to the benefit of the economy of the village and the town. And I would support it wholeheartedly. I think particularly knowing that neighboring towns and villages could allow for the use in their towns and villages and deprive us of that revenue is another impetus for us to, for lack of a better word, have our piece of the pie. So that's on behalf of myself and myself only. I think for our own economic development purposes, it would be a very positive development for the village. I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any.
Thank you, Lenore. Next.
Mike, it's Marty.
Marty, hi.
I'd like to say something. I had sent, Peter and I had sent you a letter earlier
Yes.
summer. I'm very much in favor of having cannabis sold in the Village of Canton for several of the same reasons as Lenore. I think the income is something that the village should definitely have. I know for sure that it will be other villages, and the people in Canton and the students for sure will be going to other villages for that purpose. And it would be a shame to lose out on the revenue. I'll tell you straight out myself, I use it. I've had medical marijuana for several years. I have to go to Plattsburgh, or I now go to the reservation. And it would be great to have it here in Canton. It's used for so many beneficial reasons. It's certainly not just recreational. People have to have it for pain, anxiety, depression. I have a lot of pain, and it's very, very beneficial. And I think a lot of you would be very surprised that people you know that use marijuana that have to go someplace else to get it. Thank you.
Marty, thank you. And your letter that you wrote was passed along to the board and will be part of the record.
Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome. Who would like to go next?
Mike, this is Rod Tozzi. Can I make a comment?
Yes, Rod, go ahead.
Okay, actually, I'm diametrically opposed to it. A couple of years ago, we approved, the county, the village approved a halfway house located right here at the Episcopal Church. I live on Main Street. I have found needles in front of Verizon. I've turned them into the police. And I found needles in the Village Green. I don't think it behooves us to introduce another form of dope into Canton. I understand the concept of making money out of something, but I absolutely do not agree that we have to sell our souls to do it. Now, in the case of medical marijuana or something, there can be some other provision made for that. But just to have cannabis out there so that people can recreationally use it. And this is not cannabis that we're talking about. Those of us who are children of the 60s, this is not cannabis that was known back then. This stuff is a whole lot more potent. So thank you for letting me make my comment, Mike.
Thanks, Rod. We appreciate that. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment?
Hi, this is Pete. I'd like to make a
Pete?
comment, please.
Go ahead.
I'm a registered pharmacist. One of the concerns for a lot of people is they fear that marijuana is a gateway drug to other more potent illicit drugs. The studies that have been done, and there's several of them online, you can look them up, several of them with the National Institute of Health, actually show that alcohol is a larger gateway drug than marijuana is. The hierarchy is alcohol first, then tobacco, and then marijuana after that. In fact, it has been shown numerous times that nicotine is a gateway drug to cocaine. So for the people that want to do their research, they can see that the fears of it being a gateway drug and getting all these people to go to stronger and harder drugs is a fallacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
See, Austin has had his hand up a while, Mike.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't notice that. Austin?
Thank you. Thank you guys for having this. I'm just proud that I figured out how to raise my hand on Zoom. I would like to agree with the previous two commenters. I'm Austin Bailey. I live in Seattle, Washington. I have a I-502, so a cannabis license here in Seattle, Washington. I've been in the industry here for a couple of years. The cannabis that we see today is definitely not the cannabis from 20 or 30 years ago. In a huge way, it's because it's regulated, it's tested, it's everything from seed to sale is looked at a chain of custody. It's looked at what pesticides are on it. You can't buy legal adult use cannabis and not know that it's clean, which is a huge benefit to having it regulated and having it available at a dispensary locally. So people aren't tempted to go to the black market or go to a route that's less safe. And also the gateway drug and the dangers of cannabis in a large part are offset, any perceived dangers offset by the fact that alcohol use is goes down, alcohol abuse goes down when there are other alternatives available like cannabis to take that place. I'm interested in Canton being pro cannabis, not just in allowing this to happen, but in the fact that people right now, people that I know, myself, are looking at upstate New York as a place where they can potentially take some of their expertise and business in a way that could be welcoming, that could create a small boutique business. The market in the West Coast is dominated by big business and has crashed in a way which is not friendly to the little guy. A lot of these regulations are pro the little guy and pro having a boutique business that people can support and have all the ancillary companies support it. If Canton doesn't allow it, that's fine. It'll be in different towns around there and they will have the benefit of it. And so for me, as someone that really is emotionally invested in the future of Canton, I'd love to see them benefit from all the supporting industries and all the investment that could happen if it's a welcome space. And that's sort of what I'm looking for. Thank you.
And I'm just going to add that Austin, for those of you who don't know, Austin did grow up in Canton, correct, Austin?
I did.
Yes.
I did. Definitely did.
Contextualize it for some other folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Austin. It's been a while since I've seen you.
Nice to see you guys.
Reverend Mike, you have your hand up.
I do, and I did too figure it out. I don't necessarily get into the pros and cons of it. Obviously, they're valid opinions. What I'd like to just bring to the fore is the scale. I can't think of any place in the village that would handle the potential onslaught of customers for this. Now, people talk about other towns and villages, getting their piece of the pie. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any other town in St. Lawrence County that has okayed it right now or is on track to okay it. So the analogy would be, imagine St. Lawrence County or surrounding counties being dry and Canton be the only place where liquor is sold and everyone is coming to Canton to buy beer and alcohol and wine. So if we want to do that and we want to reap the benefits of that and suffer the consequences of that, whatever they may be, that's fine. But where would we do that? Where would we have, if you go up on the reservation, they're putting in there's a Canadian chain called Budders, Budders. It's about the size of an AutoZone. And, I know I've been to the dispensary down in Northampton, Massachusetts. They had to change the streets from one way that allow traffic patterns. They have off-duty police officers directing traffic. So I just can't imagine where you'd have that kind of flow and input. When we talk about boutique industry, that's kind of a misnomer. There's nothing boutique about, having this kind of these numbers of people coming. And it kind of begs the question of, well, do we want the revenues, but do we want everything else associated with that all coming here? So, everything else being equal, if every town had a dispensary, yeah, that's fine. That's one thing. But if no one else is having it and Canton has it, I just don't see any physical place in the village that could handle that kind of traffic flow.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to put their hand up?
You can just raise your
Raise your hand
hand too,
you
if
can
that's
figure out
easier.
the button. Wow. Krista?
Hi, I used the wrong symbol.
Oh, you clapped.
My name is Krista Hafley, and I actually live in Potsdam.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I too echo what Lenore mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to have the hearing, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I do teach courses in cannabis curriculum. So seeing this industry, which is already here, seeing the economic development opportunities for our area, it would be a shame if it would not be allowed in Canton, but I do recognize what the Reverend was saying, that if it's only Canton, there's going to be smuggling into Canton and out of Canton. And we do need to, I mean, I know this is just focused on Canton right now, but the larger ripple effect. I just wanted to echo that I do support it as an economic opportunity, and thank you.
Thank you, Krista. Anyone else like to comment? I see a lot of people here.
I believe Annie has her hand up, Mike.
Where is she? Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. Thank you, Anna.
Hi, my name is Ann McLaughlin, and I'm I live in Pierpont, but I pay taxes in Canton. And I think we're here because you're having the discussion at all. And if many of the towns and villages don't bring it up by December 31st, they will have the options of having a legal retail market in their county, so, or in their town or village. So it's kind of, you know, I can't really see the argument of Canton having too much business. And if that's the case, bring it on. There's another piece of this, not just the retail aspect of it, but the social consumption sites is also an issue. And it's also on being allowed under regulations in New York State. And that, to me, is one of the most positive aspects of having legalized cannabis, which, you know, the arguments have already been made. Cannabis is legal in New York State. It's who wants to develop a retail market. So this idea of having social spaces for cannabis consumption is really a positive move, because to me, the greater threat to public health than cannabis consumption is loneliness. That's why I would love to see some social spaces for people to come and gather, because you have to realize this, it was always a social activity that people did when they got together, and you know, and enjoyed music, enjoyed just camaraderie, whatever. I remember a story that a friend of ours' son, who snuck out at night in Canton and went to the barn for a concert over at St. Lawrence University. And afterwards, he and his friends were invited to one of the fraternities. And he said, he came home and he said, "Dad, everybody was smoking weed, and they weren't really drinking at all. And it was, you know, they were talking about stuff. It wasn't like they were just doing silly drinking activities." And he said, you know, it was really kind of a cool thing. And that's cannabis use, and that's cannabis in general. It's social, it's inclusive, it's open-hearted, it's very compassionate, very, very, very different from alcohol or other drugs. That's my contribution, as well as the letter, the email that I sent.
Thank you.
The board.
Thank you. Anyone else? Some are waiting till the end.
You may be at the end.
We may be at the end.
Anyone else? Last call.
I do appreciate everybody participating. I appreciate the emails that I've received. The board will make any final decisions at our next board meeting. I'm sure it'll be discussed and then we'll go from there. But the input that we receive from our community is valuable. This is what we want. We need to hear from you. So if there's nothing else, nobody else would like to comment, I think we can call this good. Oh, Peter?
I have a question more than a comment. Is the board contacting other villages in the area to see what their opinions are and what they're planning on doing?
I would say we haven't at this point. We kind of look at what's best for our community. We can ask around if that's something that is of concern to others. We've been paying attention to the newspaper and what's being written in the news. I think all of us pay attention to that. So I think, as someone pointed out here, by not saying anything and not doing anything publicly, it would seem as though by being silent, they appear to be headed in the direction that they're going to allow it and not opt out. We wanted to give our community an opportunity to speak to us. That's what we wanted to do.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
I will say, Peter, that I've spoken a little bit with some of the people in Potsdam Town and Village, not deeply, and I plan to, because I do think that's a good idea. I think it's important for us to know what, especially the other college communities are thinking about. But it is my sense that the general direction is for, essentially doing nothing. But I think it's a good idea to get a more formal communication or just conversation going with them.
David Hartman, you have your hand up.
Yes, sorry. I was actually waiting towards the end. Thank you for sharing that. Interesting point. I know that I know a couple of you, we've had communications. Carol, you mentioned the fact about discussing with other villages. I've actually had meetings with both Gouverneur and Potsdam on the subject. And if you're interested, I'd be more than happy to share that information with you as to what we've received. The one thing, though, that I do think that's an important aspect that needs to be taken into consideration is that there is 11 different license types that are being optioned by the state, and only 2 of them are in this in versus out decision. One of the licenses, though, that is not included in the decision is delivery. So no matter if, let's say, Village of Canton decides no, that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody in Rensselaer Falls couldn't deliver to, or even Potsdam could deliver to Canton, and the sales would still be there. I mean, it's, either way, they'll still be able to get their supply. The only question is do you want a piece of the revenue or not? It's pretty much what it comes down to.
Thank you, David. Any other hands up? Okay. If we're all in agreement, we will.
I'm done.
You're done? Yeah. Oh, you're not muted.
Oh,
Dave.
I'm not muted. I'm sorry.
Okay, if no one else has any other comment, as I said, we appreciate everyone coming and participating in this. If the board agrees, we'll bring this meeting to a conclusion.
Sounds good.
Thank you all.
Thanks
very
everyone.
much.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone.